I'm back doing another video on Severance. I'm not connected to the show in any way. I'm not getting paid for this. I wish I was. um, there's going to be tons of spoilers, opinions, hypotheticals, and I am at least partially going to read from a document I wrote 2 years ago and then make commentary on my commentary. So here we go. In the first section where I am now, when examining Petey's map, Mark insists to Helly that the cluster of houses on the map is incorrect to the point of incredulousness, despite that there is a full-size replica of Keir's house in the building with a pretty decent amount of grass around it that he has visited more than once. Like, why would you assume the map is wrong? And I think maybe it was like fear that made him vomit up bullcrap. Why would you believe there are no other houses in the building? Why would you assume that when you literally seen a house in the building and there's a pretty decent amount of space around the house and above the house? Like, it's huge. So, really? I think it was fear. In the next section, I write, the lobby of the building is eerily empty as far as the number of people walking through in relation to the space available. And everyone, aside from badges, seems to wear some shade of blue. Yeah. It's giving zombie, it's giving robot, it's giving not 100% in control of what's going on, because in most places where even like business suits are the expectation, dress clothes are the expectation, there's usually a little bit of color. Even in northern states, you're still going to see color occasionally, like bright colors occasionally you'll see like a light gray suit, even if it's out of season. You'll see a light gray suit. You'll see, even maroon would be better than seeing navy blue all the time. And like almost all the people were just wearing really dark clothes, which, to an extent is normal where it's in places where it snows, but not like that. But that's just my opinion on it. Let's see. Next section. Mark, even as an outie, always answers Harmony's probing, interrogative questions instead of telling her that this or that is personal, asking her why she wants to know, refusing or avoiding giving an answer with one exception. At Rickon's reading, his innie dodges going into the details about his outie's plans, mainly because he doesn't know what they are. He doesn't seem to notice that she is overly nosy and suspiciously aware of his habits, particularly when he dumps his trash and hasn't changed his light bulb, but yet repeatedly forgot which is trash day and which is recycling day, and essentially insists on putting both of her bins out when there is never a day when both are picked up. In the next section, before Helly's procedure, Milchick tells her about Keir's breakfast eating habits as if it's something she wouldn't already know about her own ancestor, given that his whole life seems to be public knowledge, or at the very least, well known to employees. So it might be logical to assume that Milchick didn't know who she really was at that point. But I could be wrong. In the next section, when they escaped, Helly's father didn't seem to be able to tell that she was different, and he seemed a bit off himself, as if he has some mental deficiency. Lobotomy comes to mind. And it did. The one time anyone from the board is heard speaking, there is only one word, yes, And even with just that, the speaker suspiciously sounds like the recordings of Kier's voice when he should be long dead. Which makes me think back to the bathroom scene with Hallie and her dad, where he mentions his revolving. What the hell is a revolving? Now, I know there are terms that are used in different places to mean the same thing or whatever. And that might be a term that's, but the way he said it made it sound like it wasn't for his death. I'm just saying. Right before Harmony is fired, Natalie shows her pictures from Helly's suicide attempt, representative of the board finding out about it. I find it highly unlikely that the board didn't know the day it happened, given that family-owned the company tend to at least have one family member on the board of directors. Helly's being severed is treated, and Helly being severed is treated as such a big deal, and her father is the sitting CEO. Like, again, I know I mentioned this before, but still, like, you knew about Grainer, but you didn't know about Helly, and she'd been hospitalized, and none of y'all knew. Okay. Next section says, I wonder what would have happened if, when awakened, one of them would have stayed behind temporarily, and they had Dylan Jimmy rig the OTC switches in place. Because, and that goes back to my saying, I think that maybe what the people who are severed see when they're on the severed floor isn't what's actually there. Let's see. Why in the hell does Milchick, a black dude who is almost certainly not biracial, have, depending on where you look, a Russian last name? I just thought that was funny. Like, I mean, it's possible that, he just came out darker, or, he was in an orphanage or something and got adopted, but and I guess it's better than him ending up with a last name like Miller or Jones or Johnson, but okay. Next section, when Dylan goes into the system to do the OTC, there's a list of other functions above it. This one, Beehive, branch transfer, clean slate, elephant, freeze frame, Glasgow, Goldfish, Lullaby, and Open House. Half of them stand out. Branch transfer could hint that there are other locations, which would further help to explain the count disparity between Audi Urban's list of severed employees and the names listed on the security room wall. Clean slate could mean that memories can be restarted with a few clicks, and that maybe, just maybe, there's a possibility that Gemma, as Miss Casey, has been awake for far more than 107 hours, and no one who is severed, including herself, remembers. Freeze frame might mean that they can be put into a catatonic state. Lullaby suggests that they can be put to sleep on a whim. Yeah. And I will circle back to that in a later video. And I want to say it right now, and I can't. But yeah, there are a lot of things on there, and I think what they do, they're hiding a lot. It's one of those scenarios where, like, it seems like from the position of the company, it's very much like they appear to be open to telling the world what's going on with them, but they're just giving the world a nibble out of a whole pizza. Like, you just got a quarter of a pepperoni on a square of the pizza, and the pizza is this daggone big. I mean, because of course you do have to, as a company, you have to watch out for corporate espionage and stuff like that. But they're just so shady that they have to like bury so much stuff, because otherwise the whole thing might just implode really badly. That's my take on it. And that is it for this video. There is another one right after this.